These days, it seems like it's hard to get an original idea out when it comes to movies. With the insane amount of sequels, prequels, spin-offs, and remakes, it seems more like a corporate factory that specializes in mediocre film slop.
He's out of line, but he's right.
All that being said though, there's one genre that has seen a serious boom in both popularity and original IP ideas, and that is the horror genre. Now I know horror is still flooded with the same slop I talked about earlier, on top of a megaton of garbage films that no one's ever even heard of or seen. But here recently, horror has been steamrolling the movie scene, with movies like The Substance, Sinners, Weapons, The Companion, the always consistent Terrifier franchise. Horror has seemingly gotten its groove back big time. Now we are seeing a new breed of young horror minds taking the reins and running with it. Former and, in some cases, current content creators are rapidly becoming the go-tos for hit films inside the horror genre, with films like Iron Lung, The Backrooms, and the film this video is about, Obsession, taking both the box office and the film industry by storm. It seems like we are in for a ridiculously good helping of great horror movies, so let's see where Obsession lands in this review.
Winter's coming.
Before we get started though, consider this your spoiler warning, as sometimes I know I can accidentally let things slip out and not notice it. And possibly at the end I'm going to go into a little bit more of the spoilers and explain some scenes that maybe some people missed, or just, kind of draw it out. Now let's get into it. Obsession was written and directed by Curry Barker. Remember that name because I think we'll be seeing more from him in the future. The story follows Bear, a awkward, hopelessly romantic who has a serious crush on his friend, Nikki. Bear grappling with the choice to tell Nikki how he feels, which in turn could negatively affect not only his friendship with Nikki, but also their small, tight-knit group of friends. Bear is definitely having a hard time though as the movie starts, not only with the whole tell Nikki, don't tell Nikki choice, but he's also lost his beloved pet cat. After a phone call from Nikki, where Bear finds out that not only is Nikki putting in her 2-week notice from the place where him, and their little friendship group work, but she dropped her crystal necklace down the drain. So, Bear decides to go out and buy her a new one. So he goes into what I can only describe as a novelty, spirituality type store to get Nikki a replacement necklace. However, his attention is then drawn to an item called a One Wish Willow. A seemingly harmless novelty item where you make a wish, you break the willow, and your wish comes true. So Bear, being the hopeless romantic he is, buys one, and this leads to a short but funny exchange with the cashier who explains that people often complain about the product. So let's fast forward a bit to the trivia night, where we get our first glimpse at the overall friend group, and more importantly, Nikki. And let me just tell you, I understand Bear way more now. Indy Navarrete, who plays Nikki, oh my god. I gotta move on. She's hot as hell. I'm not even gonna try to sugarcoat it. Nikki is just, whew. On the other hand, the other girl in the friendship group, Sarah, is also hot.
No, don't do that! I thought we were having a nice day!
Not as hot as Nikki, but, just depends on your preference, I guess. Throughout the night, Bear is trying to let Nikki know his feelings, much to the dismay of Ian, who, for some reason, loves trivia night and takes it very seriously. But things keep getting in the way when he tries to tell her. However, luck seems to be on his side when he is able to give her a ride home. When they arrive, Bear struggles to get out the words, but then as she's walking to the door of her house, he reaches back and cracks the One Wish Willow, wishing that Nikki loved him more than anything in the whole world. Then we get one of the most memorable shots in the movie of Nikki just standing on the porch draped in shadow. I don't know why, but it might be something weird with me, but when Nikki's in these shadow shots, I don't know why she looks so good. I really don't. I really don't get it. But anyways, I'm getting off track. Then the real movie begins. As Nikki is now consumed by overwhelming love for Bear, this movie gets pretty insane, with some scenes being hilarious, like when Nikki is standing in a dark corner in the middle of the night and says,
I don't like my dreams.
I need to apologize to everyone that was in the theater with me because this took me out. I could not stop laughing at that scene. I'm sorry, but it's hilarious. Obsession takes you on an insanely twisted, be careful what you wish for story. Indy Navarrete as Nikki does an amazing job, and even though Nikki is absolutely insane, you can't help but to be drawn to her. And I fully understand why people are begging for her to get some kind of Oscar consideration. Bear, on the other hand, I found myself hating more and more as the story went on. And not only him, but his so-called best friend Ian is also a piece of shit, and you'll find out why pretty much if you watch the movie. Cause let's be honest, if that's your best friend, you don't do what Ian did to him. So I'll just leave it at that. Now let's get back to the overall rating and my final thoughts. Oh, before I forget, there's a few things I wanted to talk about in the spiritual shop where Bear buys the One Wish Willow. There is a ton of stuff on that shelf. There's not only the One Wish Willow, there's a voodoo doll, there's some kind of eye thing. There's a bunch of stuff there from the same company, whatever Tabby Cat is. So I would be interested in seeing that expanded, actually get its own like universe. So like the voodoo doll could be a movie, the eye thing could be a movie, and I think that would be a cool concept to run with. Another scene that I wanted to expand on was the Ian party scene. And a couple things. The first thing is that the girl that works in the spiritual shop, the cashier, she's at the party. She's in the background at the bar if you really pay attention. What's she doing there? Is she just there to see how the wish turned out? And I did see a fan theory where some people say that the guy at the end that's in the spiritual shop when Bear returns, he said he already used his wish. So did the girl use the One Wish Willow to turn into a guy? And that's him now? Or her now, whichever one. That'd be a cool concept. Also at the party, there's a part where Nikki is reciting a poem that she said she was working on. It's a Hansel and Gretel poem where the sister and brother are like intimately involved. And if you really pay attention to the words in the poem, it says a lot, because Ian had told Bear that Sarah told him that her and Nikki had a talk, and that Nikki sees Bear as more of a little brother than any kind of love interest. And if you listen to her poem, not only does it expand that within the poem, but it says that it was because of a willow tree or willow branch. It really explains like the overall idea of the One Wish Willow and the wish itself and the whole situation that we find ourselves in. Yeah, that's all I wanted to say about some of the scenes. Oh, quick side note. If you don't understand my review system or my tiers of my review, you can check down in the description. I should leave a link to the video, or you can find it on my channel of my explanation on how my reviews go. So let's just head on. I would put Obsession in the excellent tier based on the writing, the way the film was shot, the creepy moments, the exceptional acting, notably by its star, Indy Navarrete, who shines as Nikki. And no, I'm not just saying that because she's insanely hot.
Liar!
And the fact that this movie was made on a $750,000 budget, but has now grossed, as of recording, almost $400 million worldwide, and has made it on the top 10 list for the highest grossing horror movies domestically of all time, should tell you all you need to know. So in closing, Obsession is what I would consider a new addition to the classic horror library, and it really shows you that a good concept mixed with great writing, great directing, a cast that actually cares passionately about the movie they're making, as well as an exceptional performance from its star actress, can not only make a hit movie, but can put the whole film industry on notice. I look forward to seeing more projects from Curry Barker, and I also can't wait to see more of Freaky Nikki. I'm sorry. Indy Navarrete.
I'm your Freaky Nikki.
She's a criminal. Criminals are hot.